All right, looks like we got a lot of big Nintendo Switch 2 news to go over and RPG stuff as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to start off with what Mr. Thomas Mahler had to say. He is the CEO and creative director for No Rest for the Wicked at Moon Game Studios. A lot of you guys might know them from their work on Ori and the Blind Forest. Ori Will of the Wisp, that game did really well across Xbox and Nintendo Switch and PlayStation, PC, and all of that. So he is back talking about his new game, No Rest for the Wicked, which has already been out on PC for quite some time, like in early access, and they're getting ready for the full launch of the game. But he also showed off the game running on the Nintendo Switch 2, which was a bit of a surprise because it came on a random day in the morning out of nowhere. So it looks like they're getting ready and just ramping up for a lot of different things at Moon Game Studios. In this post, he says, "Oh, hey, it runs. Now we just need to make it run well." Then puts the laughing emojis on there because yes, you can get it running on there, but you still need to optimize and make sure that it's not running like at 12 frames per second because it is a PC game built for that architecture first and foremost, and it has a lot of complex layering and graphics and details despite it being more of like a isometric kind of like over the head type of view game with like a tilted view. But yeah, it's still a game that definitely is going to take some optimization. So he also added in that there will be PlayStation 5 support, so they are going to release the game on there, and it might come to the Xbox Series at some point as well. He also added in that there will be cross-play, cross-progression, and even likely cross-communication, so you can talk into your Steam Deck and hear your buddy on the Nintendo Switch 2 in some type of way. And of course, they'll probably just support the game chat feature. So this is definitely really good because No Rest for the Wicked is an interesting game. They've been kind of like working on this game for a while. It was a title that they did after Ori, and it really had a lot on the line. Thomas has been known to kind of go off on tangents at times when it comes to the games and reviews on Steam and all of that, but it does seem like enough people have picked up this to where he's gotten enough work done to where they can get it going on the Nintendo Switch 2, and this is absolutely a great announcement. This game is a lot of fun from what people have been saying online. I've been reading the comments on my posts that I put on Twitter and what people were saying on his Twitter account for the post that he put up, and people are excited about this. They want to see it come to PlayStation. They want to see it come to Nintendo Switch 2, and portable when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 is very valuable for this type of looting game where you can replay it a lot. A lot of people have put in 100 hours plus into this type of game. So I do think that it makes complete sense for a Nintendo Switch 2 version, and hopefully it's really good. Hopefully they can get something going sometime soon with it, because I thought about buying a PC copy because I think they have like a sailor discount to where it was like $20 or $30 or something like that, but I think the full release is going to be $40. So I thought about buying it, but I was like, you know what? He did talk about potentially putting this game on the Nintendo Switch 2 or consoles at some point. So let me just wait till we get more information. And then now at this point, it does seem like the Nintendo Switch 2 is in the works here. It's great to get an update. I think No Rest for the Wicked is a great game. I think it's going to have a lot of success. Ori did good on the Nintendo Switch and on consoles, so I do think that this could also be a big success because it's already a good success on PC, and I think it's going to do well on consoles with the Nintendo Switch 2 and PlayStation 5. So what do you guys think when it comes to No Rest for the Wicked, seemingly confirmed now for the Nintendo Switch 2, and when do you think this game could come out? I'm guessing that if they can get the port and everything optimized, maybe an announcement by the end of the year would be likely. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think he would have talked about it this early if it wasn't going to be a game that was probably going to be shown off and revealed for real probably this year, then maybe early next year, or maybe it's one of those games that just they announce and they put out very quickly and he gets a lot of work done in between because it's running on there. He just needs to optimize it and get it running well enough. So definitely good news. But what do you guys think about all of this? Let me know in the comment section below. But before we continue on, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2. All you have to do to enter is hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed, and drop a comment below. We are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 once we hit 150,000 subscribers, and it will be random. So the more that you actually comment and interact, the better chance that you have to win. Hit that like button, click that notification bell, and let's go ahead and jump right back into it. All right, and moving on to the next topic here. Bethesda has put out a huge update when it comes to Skyrim on the Nintendo Switch 2, this is absolutely a good update here because finally they add a 60 frames per second mode, which many people were thinking, what is going on with Bethesda? Why does this anniversary edition for the Nintendo Switch 2 of Skyrim not run at 60 FPS? The Switch 1 version ran at 30 FPS with some dips here and there. The Switch 2 version also ran at 30 FPS with some of the worst input delay that has ever been seen on a major console game on the Nintendo Switch 2. So it seems like that has been fixed based off of multiple different playtests that people have been doing. I don't have the Digital Foundry video just yet, but I have gotten word from people talking about it on my post that yes, it is fixed with input delay in addition to the frame rate being significantly better. So they did put out a patch notes list here. So we're gonna go over some of the highlights with it. And yeah, the big one is features. Added a 60 hertz mode under display settings that allows players to toggle between prioritize visuals, so a quality mode, and prioritize performance, the performance mode. In addition, frame rate has been locked to 30 hertz in prioritize visuals mode for a smoother experience. So one of the things with the 30 FPS mode is that there was dips there, or it would kind of go up and down. So the fact that they locked it in there, if you want to play with better graphics, is great. And 60 FPS mode, I'm guessing it targets that, might kind of dip in some heavy areas, but it's going to hit pretty much 60 most of the time. They also fixed some crashes and performance issues. They improved FPS performance drops that occurred in certain areas. They have visual issues that are fixed, user interface fixes, control fixes, audio issue fixes, localization fixes, and other random stuff fixed as well. So a very good update for something that probably should have happened before. I think last year they dropped it. It probably should have happened then, but at the same time, I'm not sure what resources or manpower or what happened, if there was bugs or issues, or they just needed to get it out this year because they already had the announcements for the other Bethesda game that they announced at the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. So I'm not sure what was going on there, but either way, I think that it's good that they did this. And I think that more people are now going to jump into Skyrim on the Nintendo Switch 2 because of that. Now, that's one of the main reasons why I didn't upgrade. I didn't do anything with it because I like Skyrim. It's okay. I'm no longer as big of a fan as I used to be. I used to really like Skyrim and all that, but I'm not just really a big fan of Bethesda games anymore. But the reason why I didn't update to at least just try it out is because they said 30 FPS on the Nintendo Switch 2, which made no sense whatsoever, considering the game was already a port from the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One version on Nintendo Switch 1, and that ran at 30 FPS with dips. There was no reason why there shouldn't have been a 60 FPS mode in this, considering the significant bump in Nintendo Switch 2 performance when it comes to GPU and the CPU. So there's no reason why, and it's not like the graphics in the game are so much better and it's earth-shattering over what we have on the Nintendo Switch 1. Yes, it's better, it's noticeably better, but it's not to the point to where there shouldn't have been a 60 FPS mode from the beginning. So I do think that while it's late, it's nice that it came because Skyrim is eternal and Skyrim lasts forever. So while they didn't get it out in the first number of months, people are going to be playing this game forever, like they've been playing since 2011 or whenever it came out. So the new people that pick up Skyrim, people that get the Nintendo Switch 2 and want to play something in between the big releases or want another big RPG to play years down the line, people are just always going to be playing Skyrim. It's like an eternal game at this point. So better late than never when it comes down to that. So I'll probably finally upgrade now at this point and check it out on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I think I can even continue my save file that I had on the Nintendo Switch 1. I know I put at least, I think, 40 or 50 hours into it, but that was already on top of like the 100 hours plus that I know I already put into the Xbox 360 version. So I told myself I'm not going to keep on playing the same game with Skyrim over and over and over, considering how long it is to play. So maybe I'll continue that Nintendo Switch 1 save file and see what's going on there and check out all the content with that. But yeah, it's good to see that Skyrim is finally up to snuff on the Nintendo Switch 2. So what do you guys think about this update when it comes to Skyrim Anniversary Edition on the Switch 2? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. And this one seems to be a big one because the indie hit Mewgenics seems like the Nintendo Switch 2 will be the front runner for the first console port of this indie hit that's taking Steam and PC gamers by storm at this point. So Mewgenics creator Edmund McMillan, the Binding of Isaac Super Meat Boy, a lot of you guys probably know his games or know of them, says that Nintendo Switch 2 is the front runner for the game's first console port. It currently has an 89 overall average on Metacritic. Add in here that the game has sold over 1 million units on PC by itself already in like a week or so. So this is a big hit, especially for an indie title. So here's what he had to say on Reddit. Quote, "We are deciding on a publisher now and defer to them when it comes to what they feel is worth developing for. I have no idea what is viable anymore, but I know Switch 2 seems like the front runner right now." So it does seem like Mewgenics, one of the better rated games of this year, will be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, and honestly it makes sense. Games like The Binding of Isaac sold incredibly well on Nintendo platforms. It makes sense. Games like Super Meat Boy have done great on Nintendo, so it makes sense for Nintendo Switch 2 for that to get a game like Mewgenics, but I also think it'll probably come over to all platforms. I think at the bare minimum, Switch 2 and PlayStation 5, we'll see about the Xbox Series, but I do think eventually the publishers or whoever's handling the financial side for Edmund McMillan and what they agree upon will say, okay, Switch 2, Xbox, PlayStation with this game, because it just makes sense. I mean, it's such a big hit on PC. There's clearly plenty of money coming in when it comes to the PC version of the game. So I do think that the business side of it says, okay, let's get it to as many people as possible, considering it was such a big hit and reviewed so well on PC. Now, if the game didn't sell as well, and if the game didn't review as well, it might make sense to leave out a platform or two and kind of just focus on what you really think the game can be optimized and maximized on when it comes to the financial performance. But with the game selling over 1 million in a week, and the game reviewing so well, I think that pretty much all platforms are going to have a decent sales window. But yeah, I agree. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch 2 would probably be the best first fit with that type of game. Independent games do really well on the platform. I mean, independent games do well on a lot of platforms, but from what I understand, it seems like Xbox probably isn't the best place for indie games. But from PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch 2, those have had a lot of great indie games that have sold really well. Stuff like Hollow Knight, for example, has done really well. Hades has done incredibly well on Nintendo platforms. Hades 2 did really good. It was at the top of the eShop charts for a number of weeks, and I still think it's one of the better selling games on the Nintendo Switch 2 eShop. So I would expect Mewgenics to do well on the Nintendo Switch 2 in addition to PlayStation 5. Now, I've watched some of this game and it seems absolutely crazy. One of the things that I hear people say all the time when a game fails is nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for this type of game or that type of game. I'm not sure if anybody asked for this cat weird game where you're tossing things on a grid and all of this. Developers just make things and sometimes it blows up way harder than they thought it could. Now, this guy obviously did Super Meat Boy and he did The Binding of Isaac, so there was some, I would say, anticipation for his title because he has the pedigree to do that. But I'm not sure if he felt or anybody really thought that it could sell 1 million copies in a week. So sometimes it really happens that way to where you just get it at the right time, where you release at the right moment and it really just blows up. People just want to play your game. So I think that's what Mewgenics has done. And I'm happy for Mr. McMillan. I think he's been working really hard for a long time on a lot of games. And I know he spent a ton of time on this game, but absolutely Switch 2 is a viable platform for it. And I can't wait to see what happens when it finally does come out on there, because I do think that the Switch 2 this year is going to get a lot of games. Now, it's been getting quite a number of games, but the pace of games and even some of the quality of the third-party games from indie and big publishers has been incredible, better than pretty much any time period that I can think of for Nintendo, at least, not including Microsoft and Sony. But as a launch, to see this many quality games from smaller publishers and bigger ones, we got multiple 90+ review scores or high 80 review scores for a variety of different games. That's really good to start off the launch of a system, and it's the type of games that you need to attract a wide variety with the unique proposition that the Nintendo Switch 2 has, to where it can instantly play on the TV and also play on the go. A game like this just fits so perfectly, in my opinion. So it makes sense for this game to come over. It's cool that we're getting more developers actually wanting to target the Nintendo Switch 2 with their titles. No Rest for the Wicked. Look at that game. Also this one right here with Mewgenics, Skyrim getting that update. These are the type of things that would have never happened on the Wii U to a degree, or even much later on the Nintendo Switch 1, because a lot of developers were not confident the Switch 1 would be successful. So it's good to see that here at the beginning of the Nintendo Switch 2's life. So what do you guys think about all the big information and news that we went over for the Nintendo Switch 2? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.